Hey, it is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today. Much love going out to all the beautiful, empowered harmonizers. We are zooming in and focusing in on a great viewer question that is to dive a little bit more in depth on the unsettling aspect. Why can't people settle? Why is it so difficult? And why does it take so much time to get through the aftermath of a relationship with a female psychopath? They're wondering, why is this one so different? Why is it so difficult? Why am I caught up with this sort of feeling that I can't let this person go? And why does they sort of perpetually stay in your mind? This is on purpose. This is on design. Female psychopaths will utilize the diversion tactic of ungrounding, basically getting them off their feet, regular footing of their targets and their scope. And so unsettling, meaning if you look at the body language, oftentimes of a female psychopath, it will be in that of seduction. Oftentimes, more masculine poses, like you might see the Madonnas of the world or the Miley Cyrus. They've got their legs sort of spread in a V. They're doing this a lot. It can mean peace, but it can also indicate something more sexual. These perversions that a female will display to pique and satisfy and fulfill a male's sexual appetite, interest, or divert, but with just not with the idea of growing together in intimacy, or even if it's, a female psychopath and they are unsettling their children, unsettling of their colleagues, unsettling of the family. Sort of, it's the grounding element that then they sort of snip off like an emotional scissors, basically just cut you off from a certain source and supply within that you can tap into and access as an emotional etheric energy that just sort of is okay. There's a part within you that is supposed to be and is okay. This might be known as focus. I feel okay. I feel content. I'm not worried about the past, the future. I'm able to inhabit and occupy the present moment. This is a very important B state for human beings, for relationships, for raising kids, for intimacy, for respecting of self, growing in your career, making decisions that are appropriate and in alignment with within yourself, that are in alignment, meaning the things that you won't regret, dismay, that won't throw you off later, send you into debt, send you into emotional debt with somebody, or keeping those sort of analysis gears going, the fear, panic going. So it's that fear that they will ignite within. And fear can be, it's the fear, I feel, is that divided state. It is created and caused by a divided state that they then sort of create within an individual. That one that, that needs to be sort of focused on this individual. Why? Because of their appeal, charisma, the things that they might have, that appetite, getting a man where does it count? In their stomach. Well, this person might not be great at making lasagna, but they might have other appetites that they're filling within a male, and kind of the perversion and exploitation of this. Exploitation, taking advantage. Oops, there we go. We're breasting the man in the wrong spot while at a meeting, in a restaurant. Just these sort of in private places, which are of your personal space, that gets invaded and sort of tapped into, like, I possess, and sort of like a depossession of self. Why is this? Because a female psychopath does not have a conscience. They do not have sort of that right or wrong morality. They are in it to win it. They are a different breed or species. They are in to create something and get something for themselves and sort of leave others behind. That's their satisfaction. That's their satiation, is sort of that of the ungrounding of others. What does it feel like? What does it mean? Sort of throwing people off when you should be grounded, meaning your feet are on the ground underneath you. You're not, chasing after them with your feet flying like you're Superman, trying to keep up with them or satisfy them. Meaning, do they exploit the male sexuality? Do they exploit the male need to be a male, or to be, the man of the house, wear the pants? How do they will then sort of disarm this, by, sort of looks of oh God, in other words, sort of just like you cannot be a man, it's sort of the feminizing of the man. In other words, by showing off her virility as a female. And they can be beautiful. Oh my gosh, why would I not give it up for this woman? She's da 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 da, the one. I mean, you'll have all these pronouncements, but what men don't realize is, what does it take then when there's you are being exploited? When a female psychopath is ungrounding, what does that mean? Sort of to throw you off your senses, throw you off your kahunas, throw you off your clarity and focus, just being who you are, sort of disrupting the apple cart, if you will. Why? Because men then, they're getting a rise out of this. If there's a woman who's doing something, obviously it's gonna get a reaction. Exploiting this, using a lot of the the flipping of the hair, showing of the wrists, the neck. In business meetings, they just seem to have this provocative energy. What's going on with that person? This intrigue, it sets the wheels going. And so if this person is sort of embedded in this way, it might feel very delightful in the beginning, i.e. it's a novelty, or they take you off your responsibility to your work, to yourself. They get you going, and all of a sudden it's 1,000 miles an hour. But what does it mean when it's your ungrounding? Because the female psychopaths can do those to other individuals who are of good merit, good integrity, good intelligence, good feeling and empathy. The good women of the world, they have it going on. They have the sparkle in their eye. They have a pep in their step. They have an innocence to a female psychopath. So if they can, quote unquote, corrupt, destroy, minimize, or cause others to feel less than or off balance, sort of always an eye askance, like something seems off and you have a sneaky feeling. This is not a good feeling to live by. I have this sneaky suspicion to feel it throws you off balance. You might feel a burning in your body, a burning in your glutes, sort of always leaning forward, not being able to keep your head up. Your head is always looking down. The very dangerous and lethal part is the residual after effect of when a female psychopath will unground, meaning, how do they do this? Because this is the real upset. And how do you identify this? And it's within your body itself. But the female psychopath, they don't want you to check in on that. They want you to be thrown off. They want your head to be cocked. They want you to distort yourself and go throw you off. What? And you just can't believe this. And then they have their strange antics. Parking their car in special places, having, cars that, that have a lot of bells and whistles or things like this that sort of flash attention. They're bending over in the seat a lot. Even if they have kids, they're dressed to the nines, and not relating to the kids in a motherly way. It's like all business. And women in business has become like an equal rights thing. So I think more women are sort of coming out in the media now, that women are more empowered or have access to more information. They're getting more jobs. Women, replacing men in the workplace. Equal pay, yes, but you have to realize a woman is a woman. A female is a female. And they do, and so if you can trigger them, if you can set a seed that you are not good enough, that you must work perpetually, that to satisfy, or there's a very draining energy that requires that attachment, that is very draining, that you must get out of that sequence. You must turn away. You must not drain yourself according to these manipulation tactics. And what is it? How do they manipulate? So the body language speaks volumes. So a female psychopath can be manipulative without saying a word. When you study linguistics, language, and you study in university of how sort of all language comes from a mother tongue, millions of years ago or what have you, and you understand though that body language is more effective in relaying a message, meaning it carries a message more than the words that are said. Because someone can say, I love you, but their body language can say something different. This is what the female psychopath does. They create a sort of a discord. In psychology, cognitive dissonance. Something isn't matching up in the body language, the person, and then how they're treating or what they're really doing in essence. It's, the female psychopath who is a mother who doesn't give the time of day to their children. All it is about looking good, or what makes them a good mother, which is according to their own proclamation, and is only set within the psychopath. They have no ability to have conscience, empathy, or sort of compassion for children. They only see it in the movies. They only see it at the grocery store. It's not organic within them. It's just, they're sort of, if you can think of a cold-blooded female, and how can this be? And that's really what is in the wiring. And then it's that dispersion of energy, a very cold, negative, and dark energy. This is not. You have to realize and sort of do an emotional squeeze and get all that negative energy out. You have to realize that the ungrounding, you are grounded more in depth than the female psychopath. Will use antics, perversions, distortion tactics through their body language, which oftentimes creates sort of this mystery or enigma. In other words, a memory will be lingering about this person. They're very threatening, but you don't know why. They threaten your job, your well-being, your finances, your love, your relationships. What they're doing is you're sensing something. You personally have, the vagus nerve, which is your longest nerve, which runs, through and is your gut feeling. You have neurons within the abdomen itself. And this cognitive dissonance, which means there's something not jiving between what you're seeing and what you're feeling within this person. There is a disconnect, a discord. This person looks beautiful, has hair extensions, breast implants, lip puffers, butt puffers, calf buffers, whatever puffers they have to look or retain some sort of semblance of beauty, which has nothing to do with organic and growing within oneself, but it's a display in order to manipulate and sort of conceal another reality, which means it's used for trickery. It's more than a mask. It's like a kind of a, if you will, to me it's like a decoy duck, a decoy coyote. So in other words, they appear as if you've seen a decoy duck, it looks like a duck, but it's not a duck. It's to like scare some sort of crows away or whatever. If it is a coyote, it's there, a decoy, so that the geese don't come and eat all the whatevers. So the body language, particularly, is a manipulative tool. So that's why it's like whenever you're around, and the female psychopath, they are aware of what they are doing. What does this mean, peace and harmony? They're aware that they're exuding this energy. They have an ability to sort of put out an energy. What does this mean? If you ever heard of someone who exerts confidence, a very accomplished businessman or real estate mogul, they've done a lot of deals. They know what they're doing. They're experienced, seasoned, and tenured. That's, and they have the resume to prove it. That's legit. But there's a discord if you feel someone who is pretending or saying certain things, but you're getting a feeling that something doesn't match up. They're exuding a sexuality. They're exuding, this sort of seething energy, which men find very intoxicating. Here we go, intoxicating. Their head is like floating above their body. They're just like, they feel like they've just gone to, ape heaven or something. They just feel tantalized. They feel turned on. They feel magnetic charm by this personality. They cannot pull their eyes away. They cannot, there's this attraction, and other people know what so the psychopath, because this is sort of my essay, video essay, so understanding in the study of this, meaning that a psychopath, because they lack certain forms within the brain that develop a neural pathway, that develop, a neurogenesis, that take up space in the brain, will develop. So in other words, for example, the more you drive, the more neural networks you learn and know how to drive. So it's a skill that you can confidently say, I can drive, and so you can exude confidence. I know how to drive. If you have a teenager getting in the car, you can tell they have different body language. So I'm trying to create an application and a parallel. Why? Because this is so difficult to understand. Why? Because this is so severe. Why? Because this has serious and damaging, lifelong, really lethal, damaging consequences for you and your health, you and your well-being, you and your happiness, you and getting your head above emotional water, not feeling like you're drowning, overwhelmed, sort of torn apart. These are not positive states. And so the positive is where we're going with this. You have to declare and be responsible for your B states. You do have the skill, you are more powerful than the said body language of a female psychopath. So for example, they will use this to deploy certain progress or improvement in the workplace, making clicks, going right to the boss, going right to the boss man, sitting in their chair. Oh my God, no one's ever done that before. Why are they doing, going into a restaurant, walking right past the checkout host, into the back room, into the back office, asking, where's the manager? Sitting down in the chair, looking at the restaurant safe, opening it up. Oh, look, it's open. Taking the keys to the place, or whatever other things. Why did you leave this here? Just little things that they will do just walking past people, undoing their shirt, taking off their glasses, tripping them, just strange things that they will do in order to get attention, pinching people, in sensitive areas, thinking it's funny, thinking it's delightful. I mean, just a clear violation of physical, personal boundaries. Some men, oh, it might be a novelty, but when it's done again and again by someone who does not have morality, who their prefrontal cortex doesn't have sort of that lady justice scales going on, those are sort of out the window. They just sort of make a beeline for whatever it is that they want, and they will take a wake and create a wake of others, sort of casualties in the process. And unless you want and declare that you want that to be your reality, you can say, yes, I'm, allowing that to steep and just, or you can say, no, I'm cutting off that circuit. I am grounded, and finding what that means. And what does it mean in the quantum field, the kinesthesiology, the true healing that is pronounceable and felt and reliable, trustworthy within. But it'll have a direct sort of, it'll have a direct conflict with the reality, the wrong reality, the erroneous reality, the erroneous feeling, or really more control that a female psychopath is creating, that they are instilling, that they are mapping out in their environment just so that they can get and have sort of that control over others. Inappropriate talk and comment, at meetings, in the family. And this is very unsettling. It'll throw you off balance, meaning get you that sort of emotional knee-jerk reaction where you get, if you ever been at the doctor, they're testing your reflexes and you go here and then you have no power over that. That's your reflexes. So it's a similar emotional sort of hit to a sort of guttural tendon that is designed to sort of really disembark others from their center, from their focus, from their I am, and from their journey. This is real stuff. This is cutting people off from their life source. This is not a funny matter, and we're using it with some levity. However, the body language. So, and then the problem is that then they also will use psychological, just sort of psychopath word salad, just out of nowhere, weird snippets of information that sort of get under people's skin in a different way. Why their brain mapping is different from others. So the way that I see it, if you're really good at driving, like let's say you were a truck driver for your living, your brain would be highly developed in that spatial model of like eye-hand coordination, being able to turn things, knowing the flow of that, and then your brain mapping would develop. So it's a similar thing. Your brain will develop your neural connections. What wires together, fires together with repetition and experience will develop that sort of skill that is within somebody. And so just like within yourself, if you've been mapped to fear, you want to know, we're destroying that map. There's no going there. We're here. We found you. You're here. And it's in a space that makes oftentimes prohibitive or forbidden to inhabit sort of a space of peace while you're in the milieu of a psychopath. Why? Because they're in it to win it. Why? Because they're in it to be at the top of the hierarchy. They're in it to trip it up. They're in it to see that they have made their mark. They want to see that they have made a mark. They like to see that they might have burned others and see that others are upset. Burning others in business, seeing other people get down. That's a strange sort of satisfaction or satiation for a female psychopath. High risk behaviors, um, again, that throw people off balance, throw you off. You know, your body is leading the show. Your head is gone out the window. You left it 300 miles back and it's in the snow. Can you retrieve your inner I am? Yes, you can, but they'll sort of sort of dysregulate your good, your I am, your clarity. Why? Because if you were to resource that, you'd walk away and say no thank you. But they'll make sure that you're not able to do that in a way that a cat will maim a mouse. They won't just kill it right away. They'll sort of get it by the head and see it wriggle, and then the cat will do whatever it does. It's sort of a similar sadistic satiation. And you know, it'll take a lot out of you. So we're here to put a lot back into you. Into you. And again, with and what is it so about the brain mapping? So in other words, if a female psychopath does not have the amygdala, so that center that registers fear, they just don't have that same fear quality. I could lose a child. That would be, scare me. I could, this would, they don't have that experience. They have, more rage, more aggression, more, going after things. Female psychopaths have been shown to have more testosterone. So that's sort of like an aggression. But it can be an aggression of sort of taking and not reciprocating, or taking and really sort of that of deception. So their antics, because they have, and if you look at the brain scans of psychopaths versus like a normal healthy, and you'll see, it's my understanding that the amygdala shrinks. So it's like they have then a large skill to deceive and hurt and harm and mislead and sort of they take others as a host that they can sort of derive their energy and their need of, and then sort of keep going. There's no connection or bond that's able to be made. So that they're not really there engaging. There's a different etheric energy, emotional energy that will really be around this person. And so I've explained this before as a parallel. So for example, if you're to speak to someone who is blind and they have not mapped out that whole visual cortex, then they're gonna really develop that tactual cortex, the sensory cortex in the brain where they really feel things. So they're very, very good at feeling. So if you look at a psychopath, if they don't have the skill to be a specific way, they have a very pronounced, developed skill in another way, which means they're developing their skill, their tactics, their tools, their manipulation, in a way that will satisfy and satiate and just get them what they want. And they will use others or mimic what they see in others to pretend to be as if. So this is I think it puts people into a shock that they don't have what they thought that they had in a person. There's a shock level. And then there's also sometimes a maiming or a hurting, and putting seeds of hurt in another, which you cannot allow to proliferate and grow. They might say things to you that the psychopath tells. I'm dangerous. I'm insatiable. You'll never meet anyone like me again. I'll really give it to you good. I'm unforgettable. They'll plant these seeds, or and sometimes, especially when it goes to the discard, these people really go for the emotional jugular. They'll try to hurt others. You're unbelievable. You're horrid. And then followed by just these what they project to be permanent qualities, which is their defense tactic. It's like their poison that they will sort of put, parallel and emotional maiming of others, the cat and mouse game, where, through the things that they say, through the body language. So in other words, it sounds very strange if you've never encountered this. But in other words, they will make others feel like a zero. And what does that mean? They'll sort of go and just sort of like maybe just put their body on a table and just sort of point to you, and like they'll just sort of make you, there's a weird body language that they do. Or they'll just and this sounds very strange, and until you've witnessed this, it sounds like it's sort of a projection, or what I call, or term sort of a throwing of energy. A psychopath will say that they're exuding it. So they can exude a falsehood. They can exude that they're a mother. They can exude that they're a teacher. They can exude that they're a professor. They're pretending. I mean, to the degree that you don't understand, you can't even relate to what's going on there. It's a differentness. It's a lack of warmth of being, sort of that humanity. So a lacking of humanity, but there can be appearance of humanity. For example, Mother Teresa. We know she's the real deal. But let's just say we found out that Mother Teresa had a whole drug ring going, with people that she helped. What? She's a fraud? No, she's the real deal. Through and through. So what does it mean? And then the body language, because the woman who will kind of stand with the legs way out, like they're trying to, or they're kind of put their body like a sort of, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Just put their body like an instrument, like they have in a way to sort of make people feel or see or connect different things, which is very disarming, which is very, it sort of catches your eye, and your eye can't leave it. A psychopath would describe it. What they're trying to do is, it's like a train wreck. You can't get your eyes off. That's how they describe themselves. And what they do, their manipulation, is that it's sort of like a train wreck, and if your eye is on the train wreck, i.e. what they, how crazy they are, you'll miss your whole life, you'll miss your whole job, you'll miss your relationships, you'll miss your strengths, you'll miss how to cook, you'll miss how to sleep, you'll miss, having your real life. And just realizing that they cannot take your energy without your permission. They cannot take your energy without your permission. So you need to give and understand that you need to have like a permission slip for your energy, and sort of realize, meaning, I'm not going to be drained in this way, even if it's advertised, even, live this and this life. That's draining. You can turn your eyes away. You can peel your eyes away. You don't have to look at the train wreck. You don't have to find out what all else that they heard. Unless you say, that's all I want to do, then you have to realize, then what is the payoff if you're remaining stuck there? Is it because you're afraid to be grounded? You don't know how to be in the present moment. This is really in-depth stuff here. This comes from a lot of studies. So why does the female psychopath unground? Oh boy, because of their parasitic nature. They need to kind of live on people and sort of always have them there, so that, in other words, you'll always have a fear, or there's a scandal, or there's something mysterious about this person that you need to figure out, because they have a power that's different than yours. Or so it seems. This is what becomes assessed. Don't allow this. I'm not impressed. They'll do all these things to impress. I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed in the gown that you're all falling out of. You can say, as a man, I'm not impressed. As a woman, I'm not impressed. And in yourself, They're trying to alarm you. I'm not impressed. They're trying to give you the look that could kill, that gives you the emotional meltdown. That there's, that's theirs. That's in their body. You don't have to be a receiver. You like a stereo receiver. You do not have to receive that negative energy. And if you've already received it and you're kind of in that path of your life where you're like, I'm absorbing way too much negative energy, then you need to say and admit, I'm absorbing way too much negative energy. And I'm not an energetic match for this negativity. Even if it looks like a positive female, Any man, any woman would work, to have this. Just don't allow yourself to feel like a loser, like you have lost something. Because that is the instilling of grief. Those are the negative emotions that will, they'll continue to fan the flames, and that will only burn within you versus a positive fire of passion. Light a candle, light 7 candles. Get yourself some light. Get a night light. Light up your life. Like literally, you have power. You are stronger than that. Why? Because you own a physical heart. Unless you've donated it already, you own this. You own your abdomen. You own your feet. Okay? You own your energy. Just because someone else has tapped you for a specific doesn't mean you're living in that. You can say, no way, Jose. No way. And you need to then understand that you need to learn to define life on your terms. Because as a female psychopath will put a new set of terms that will run the show, run the museum, run the company, run the family into the ground. But they're somewhere way up here, driving the largest Escalade from 2030 that they have, and then no one else is struggling. So in other words, they will plant these seeds of demise without others knowing. Get that out of your garden. N-O way. Enough is enough. Until you can declare with that sort of conviction and to say, I've seen enough, I've gone off the handle enough, I've tried to win this back, explain and justify myself. You're still trying to make sense. You're trying to compute. A female psychopath does not compute. They're not working by the same measuring system. They're not working by the same financial system. They're on a whole nother, just sort of in it to win it, just sort of sweep through, and not look back. Just give others a thrill that could kill, and then bye-bye. Just really throwing people off. Leaving their, leaving strange garments in your car. Leaving what is their calling card. They might just, popping up at specific situations wearing strange things. They will have a calling card, a way of being. They might just drag all sorts of people into things and throw off a family, a situation. Oh, surprise, a lot of surprises, a lot of chaos. Chaos means things are going in all different directions. It's not something beautiful like a firework going off and it makes something, it's going off in all directions, and your head cannot spin enough to try to make sense until you go, okay, I'm putting the brakes on this. This is not an attractive quality. Even if others, once again, are saying that is force, that is not your power. They are using manipulation. They're using deception. They're using ways to get people, like a domino effect, going down for them, with them, supporting them, and then singling others out to feel less than, and then they leave them with these stories of horror. I've been cheated on. a whole big setup, and then the person is just going, they're just gone, and you're like in shock. So you can tell if you're ungrounded if your feet just sort of don't hit the ground. A lot of what, I think a lot of people, they're always, their body is just sort of gets into a rhythmic of always reacting. So they're always in a reactive to this person. They're not beating to the rhythm of their own drum, your own natural pace. Recognizing that this is, too much for you. Recognizing that this is not good for you. Recognizing these things and being able to admit it and coming clear and coherent. There's a coherency within that gets shredded up. It's a cognitive dissonance. So for like in music, if you hear classical music and then jarring chords, rawr, and then it resolves, that can be pleasurable. But it's like the jarring chords that don't ever resolve. And it gets this limbic system in the brain. I think of men just like beyond themselves. Women, they're beyond themselves. They're lost to themselves. This is not pleasant. This does not, if you say this, a lot of people are going, what do you mean? If you're, they will leave your head spinning. And they know this. Why? Because they can live and do a specific way of life that others can't keep up with, that won't. I mean, you can, the same with men. Men have you ever met a man who's married 7 times and they're still doing it? They're still in it to win it. And you're like, this guy is 81. He's married a 40-year-old. And he's got 7 children by all different women. And this woman is like so happy to be with him. What? What do these people do? You see these men losing their money, losing their jobs, losing their reputation, losing their company, losing their 401k. To what? To this being thrown off balance. The reaction to impress rather than just having a balance. So these women, they thrive on living off balance. For some time, that can be good. When you're starting a new job, when you're just getting in a relationship, you're burning the midnight oil. At a specific point, you want to save some midnight oil for yourself. They will drain people. Because you will feel like you're working for them. There's no internal circuit. And sort of ungrounding, meaning like you're always thrusting forward. Your body is, even there's a disconnect from your mind, meaning your body's trying to go and be and do something, but you don't quite register it consciously, and that's that cognitive dissonance. So there's something in the communication that's not meeting you squarely. And information does need to be able to meet with you squarely. A female psychopath, I feel, they don't have an open, clear, honest communication. There's going to be some barrier. Pointing an elbow at someone is a body language. Turning away and sort of looking over their left shoulder, that's like looking past, looking in their past, like you're so in my past. And how can you register if you're ungrounded? You can feel it. You can't quite sit in a chair sometimes. You feel restless, uncomfortable without, crossing your legs, crossing your arms, having a tablet, writing, behind a phone, behind a tablet. It's you have to realize that then there's this barrier that they will create this cognitive dissonance, which means they're saying they love you, but their behavior is something different. They're saying this, and something just doesn't register, and you don't know quite what it is. How do you get your body back on? Your feet, if you feel your feet are constantly tilting, your feet aren't on the ground, you're pussyfooting, you're walking on eggshells, you're walking as if you have to have stiletto shoes on to keep up with this person, male or female. You're afraid or uncomfortable to have both feet on the ground. You feel uncomfortable that you are where you're at. You just can't explain it. You're just sort of dodging things. You feel that you're sort of, these are strange feelings. The need to always sort of put your leg up. People who constantly pick their toenails. These body repetitive focused behaviors. Constantly doing it, biting their, these are barriers. These are ways. These are anxiety reducing behaviors. Grinding the teeth. You find, that you're right here. You're clenching so much because you're trying to process something that you can't process. You're supposed to be preserving yourself, but you're not quite in that whole window. You're not in the coherency. You're not in the clarity. You haven't visited this state before because they will keep you separated from it. There's an sort of an energy of force, an energy that of domination, of aggression, and that you can't. It's hard to explain. So you'll feel that you can't live, be, or go against it. It's just sort of who they are, and they will sort of wear the pants metaphorically in a strange way. So you might feel then that you don't have that your feet good footing, that you're not you haven't been able to walk barefoot. You're constantly looking for new shoes. You're looking for big shoes that nobody can step on. You're constantly, bending over. People who are like constantly purchasing things, trying to create a wall, a separation. These are the behaviors as a result of female psychopath manipulation and throwing people off your foundation. So corroding it, corrupting it, taking a chunk out, throwing it out the window. You're not this, you're not that. It's better this is more. This is, and then away they go. You have nothing to show for it. And if you're, and this is fear and discomfort. So it's like you cannot stop watching your back. The body language of the feet, their feet are always pointed toward the door. In a restaurant, they'll be facing towards the door. They're always looking for who's coming in. They're not just sort of there for you 100%. They're unable to inhabit and live in the present moment. And then they will, if they create this anxiety in others, what happens here? We're going to go a little bit longer, and then we're going to wrap it up. So, and creating that fear in others, meaning that you have to protect yourself from this sort of energy, or you have to kind of constantly calculate it, or it's constantly figured into what you're doing. You're baking a cake, sprinkle in some of this fear. And then so they'll keep other people reeling and not living in the present moment. What does that mean? You're sort of thinking about the future or worried about the past. That means if you're in that, then there's something about your life that is in cognitive dissonance. Meaning that if you're overthinking things, it means that you feel in your gut that you have not made a right decision, or you're feeling that you're going to get canceled, cut off, not invited back. Things are just going to go off the rails. And this is a fear projection. So this is false evidence appearing real. We're seeing this in the Kanye West. Guy who's thinking like everybody's a paparazzi, takes some lady's phone, throwing it away. That's like when you're in the sauce, Kanye West. He's got a lot more going on. But that's an example of sort of an out of character experience. Those sort of separate others from a reality of peace, of harmony, of focus, of living the love, of living the life, of living the dream. Living the dream, so meaning what you wanted. They'll sort of take that away from you. It's your dream. It's not theirs. Yours is yours. You got to get back to the vision board. You have to envision, to manifest and create. You have to get back to that breathing space, because they'll take you out of that. They'll take you out of that, and get you sort of that fearing. Why? Because if you're always sort of ready for them, you're always, always Coca-Cola. Well, have a Coca-Cola. Don't, have this fear grinding you down. And instead say, I'm always happy. I'm always present. I am always based in and on track. I'm always in my proper highest good. And I know what my highest good is. And being able to inhabit those spaces and feel those spaces and experience those spaces will come about once you have that declarative energy that you want to be in congruence, and that there's a trusting of something within, because you're taking your eyes off of the guilt, off of the stress, off of the da. Take your eyes, take your heart, take your hands, take your tongue, take your breath off of it for a moment, just because that's what they will do. Why? Because that delights them. That's just how they do life. You're not an energetic match for someone who takes advantage of you. It's just not going to work. So there's a congruence and a sort of a congealing that will happen within. That means you'll hit your own home runs, and you'll be able to have a sense of accomplishment that no one can take away with you once you begin to realize and feel a sense of indifference or neutrality for their tactics. I'm not jealous, not impressed, not thrown off. I am not biting my fingernails. I'm not throwing my back off and subjugating my back to try to overwork, carry 500-pound boulders. Look how strong I am. Or whatever other out of character experiences that you felt that you had to pursue in order to satisfy, and sort of come back and realize what are those sort of barriers, and let them go. Once you realize that, only you put barriers in your own way. And once you realize that then they have no power over you. And then they will go away. And that might be, something that you allow. So it's not something that is then, if you allow, and then there then won't be the result of guilt, worry, did I do something wrong? That's still their energy trying to sing their little carol back into your life. And being grounded, looking up at the sky for 5 minutes. Oh my God, peace and harmony, that's difficult. Give yourself a challenge. See what it does. See how it energizes. See how it stimulates. And then realize then that you can stop judging and confirm and emanate. I make good and proper decisions. I am in my foresight and hindsight and in the present moment, and that is okay. Because if you're always worried, if you've got that over processing mind, worrying, what's going on? Oh, I'll do that to make up. Stop making up and saying I lost out, just because that's, you're overdoing, and that will not pay off. Just say, I'm going to stop overdoing. You might have got where you are by overdoing, so you might, be uncomfortable with having a balance and a contentment, but it'll give you a better reservoir of strength and clarity, where if something comes to throw your path off, you just have an automatic towards the good. Here comes whatever, towards the good. You then begin to develop a real unconscious competence once you can become grounded Your feet are on the ground. If you live in a warm climate, taking the feet off, putting the feet on the actual ground will help you to remove the negative stress ions. It'll remove that. The energy is a great recycler. Looking up at the sky, the morning sky for 5 or 10 minutes with repetition and experience, emotional coherence, day after day. I've had emotional coherence one day. Let's do it day 2. Let's do it day 3. Let's do it day 4. Let's do it day 5. What happens with repetition and experience? What happens when you get real? What happens when you get decisive? What happens when you just know? What happens when you're okay? What happens when you know and you stop, jumping into the boxing ring and you just enter into your breath and allow and you stop over churning? And that's a better space. If you can move yourself into an improvement, know what improvement means and is for you. Not as it, and know what that is, like a personal reality. So what you feel, and not as you explain and justify to a negative, duplicitous, or splitting energy that you don't have to serve another goal other than what is good for you. Meaning, you're able to splice down and spare down your goals. And if you had too many, you're able to focus them down. If you didn't have enough goals, then you're able to say, I have goals. I have a goal to feel and be wonderful today. And so it is. And you continue to say and repeat that. You speak it out loud so you can hear it. Your ears are hearing what you need to hear. I am okay. I am grounded. I am. This is okay. And so I declare, and so is it. This is power. And once you're able to access that reservoir with repetition and experience, you can allow that to lead, grow, and discipline your life, because it'll help you it'll show you where the negative habits are, where you don't need to constantly impress, constantly take out the woman, constantly prove her by doing A, B, C, D, building her a house, building her a town, building whatever, and then sort of taking back your energy, checking out those repetitive, body-focused repetitive movements, grinding your teeth, go to the dentist. Oh my God, your teeth are gonna fall out. You can massage this, get the knots out. It is okay. You don't have to be ripped. Have a 13-pack, 18-pack arms, whatever it is. A chiseled neck, a chiseled mind is more important. When you really get strong and tough here and allow that to just move without being tough, you have an inner edge, and that inner edge is smooth and sort of a silent smoothness, then you know you're in the power. This is your buddy, Peace and Harmony, with you here today, and I hope these videos do help. Please share, please subscribe, and for goodness sake, please donate for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support. You got this. You've got, and you must own and take like in a newfound sort of breath of awareness that you can direct, you can go, you can heal, you can feel more coherent and grounded. You're not thrown off. You're not a pushover. You are pushover free. You are not lazy. You are lazy free. You are not apathetic. You are apathy free. You are anxiety free. Things that you could never thought you could be or do. You find yourself coming your way. Write it into your calendar. Write it into your calendar. You must declare it, and so be it, and follow up, and just go step to step to step, and allow it to bloom in a very silent, strong, potent way. Have a beautiful day.